Dipyrone is suspended throughout the country after the Anvisa alert. Calm down, I'll explain everything that's happening. This is a recent post, and you always have to keep up with the changes and what's been happening. That's why don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and stay tuned to our notifications so you can understand and know what is or isn't something to worry about. And now it's Dipyrone's turn. Shall we go? Before reading what's here, let's go. Brazil uses Dipyrone. Many countries don't use Dipyrone. It's forbidden. Think of developed countries. Most of them don't use Dipyrone. Just this information before I read the article I received here. So, let's go. Anyone who uses injectable medications in hospitals and clinics needs to be extra careful. Anvisa has ordered the immediate suspension of sales. The sale, distribution, and use of a batch of dipyrone monohydrate, 500 milligrams per milliliter, have been suspended after the identification of a significant quality deviation. The decision was published in the Official Gazette of the Union through Resolution RE 1380 of 2026 and affects batch, write this down, the batch is important, batch 24.
11-23-78.
And who is the manufacturer? Hippopharma, packaged in boxes containing 100 ampules of 2 milliliters each. According to Anvisa, laboratory analyses confirm the presence of particulate material in the injectable solution. This type of alteration indicates the existence of undissolved particles that are foreign to the formulation, which compromises the safety of the medication. The guidance is direct. Patients, hospitals, clinics, and healthcare services should immediately suspend the use of the affected batch and contact the manufacturer for guidance on replacement. Nothing new on that front. Guys, here's the thing. Dipyrone is a dangerous medication. We know that many people are allergic to Dipyrone. So the problem here isn't about making connections. Medication regarding its side effects, which we already know. Here it's a batch where there's a fragment that didn't dissolve. In other words, when you take a 2 milliliter ampule of Dipyrone, you'll notice in the case of this batch, you'd be able to see some particles. As a result, Anvisa suspended this batch from this manufacturer. So, it doesn't mean the other batches from this manufacturer have any identified issue, at least up to the time I'm recording this video. So before we think that Dipyrone has been suspended by all manufacturers in Brazil, that's not the case. So before we spread any information, it's important for us to understand what it's about. And if you're a healthcare professional, you need to stay informed. Imagine a patient comes in and says, I saw on the news that Dipyrone was suspended. You want to give me Dipyrone? No way. Something like that. You have to stay up to date as a professional. That's why I'm here making this content. So, if the hospital or clinic where you work is with the manufacturer that was mentioned, that's fine. Now, you have to check if the batch of the medication you have matches the batch I mentioned here in the video, if the batch is different. So, theoretically, this medication, in this case, does not undergo any quality changes compared to the batch that was mentioned. So guys, it's not about Dipyrone itself, the medication itself, it's about this specific batch. So, there were no clinical outcomes presented to the point of suspending the entire medication in the country. So, why does the title of our thumbnail grab your attention? It's so you'll watch the video. In fact, the title of the message I received here was just like that. Dipyrone was suspended nationwide, which caught my attention. I looked into it. That's not exactly it. The suspension is nationwide. From that manufacturer and batch. Clear? So, why did I make this video this way? So you can also understand that not everything is just what you saw. You have to read. A healthcare professional can't be lazy about reading. or at least watch a video from a reliable source so you can really understand. So for example, if a student comes up to me, since in my case I'm a teacher, right? I have several students. If a student comes up to me and says, "Professor, was Dipyrone suspended?" No, it wasn't. But there was a batch from manufacturer X, and that batch, yes, it was. It was suspended by Anvisa. Do you understand? So as an educator, I'm doing my job. You, as a professional who works with patients, if you are approached by a patient about this, you'll have an explanation and you make the patient feel safe. In fact, if he searches, if he Googles it, he'll see that it's not all Dipyrone from all manufacturers. It's from one brand and one batch. Do you understand? So guys, it's really important that whenever you share information, you click to see or listen to what's being said so you can actually say, "No, I understood, it made sense, okay, I'm good." Does it change or impact your life? Nothing, because nothing changed about what you're going to do with Dipyrone, but you have information about a specific batch. If someone asks you, you're already up to date. So, if a student asks me something like, "Professor, is it true that Dipyrone was suspended?" I already know how to explain to my student what it's really about. You understand? Being a healthcare professional, guys, for the rest of our lives, we need to stay up to date. Since I'm talking about Dipyrone, and since only those who made it to the end of the video are here, Dipyrone is photosensitive. Don't dilute Dipyrone in more than 500, it's more than 20 ml. Don't use Dipyrone in 100, 500, much less 1000 milliliters. Because if you give Dipyrone in 1000 and don't do anything else, you'll get the same result for the patient. You knew that already, right? If you didn't know, I can make a video. Then it would be an educational and technical video about Dipyrone. Also, comment if you want me to make this video for you.